Hey there, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Blake Alewelt, and in this video, we're gonna cover January's budget, what worked, what didn't, and how much we ended the month with. We'll even make a live transfer into our Fidelity brokerage account here in the video. January was a weird month with some last minute plumbing work and some car maintenance that we had to do. So let's jump into Monarch and check our budget. Okay, so I use Monarch Money for when it comes to my budgeting. Everything's automated. It's as your transaction gets spent inside of your bank account, they get synced over, brought in, and then you get to categorize them almost in real time, like usually within 24 hours at the maximum. As we go through the budget, the first thing I like to cover is income. So I do work a W-2 and I have multiple businesses that also run. So with the paychecks, they came in, they added up to $8,274, which we actually didn't quite budget this much to come in. I think we budgeted $7,500 coming in from the previous month going into January. So we were a little over, which is nice to see. So we calculated that if it were to come in, say at 7,700 is what we would have imagined, you would see that we would have this here and the green line would be full. So we see this discrepancy between 7,500 and 8,274, and we could fix it right here. We'll make that the real number. And then we'll just go ahead and, we want to apply it to all months. We'll make it even. So then you'll see the left of budget actually auto update in the top right-hand corner. I love Monarch because as you make changes, it just live updates as you go. So with paychecks, we had 8,274 come in. When it comes to business income, if you have not seen our other videos, we take the gross income that we had from the previous year, we average it out for 12 months, and that's what gets paid out, just so we can enjoy a monthly income from the businesses so that it feels like you are getting something out of them, kind of as a motivation. As of last year, we did actually end up with an overage. So if you watch the December budget video, you'll see we even take a year-end bonus and left some of the cash back in the business for operating. But as for this month, we had 4,428. You'll see that as a recurring trend. We may even increase that later in the year. From what it looks like, it's going to be a good year. So that may even go up. And then just some interest that the banks paid us for $19. So one of the biggest expenses that we usually cover is our home. So we do own our home. We pay a mortgage of $2,142. And if you don't know, for home insurance, you usually get a pretty good discount if you pay a year ahead of time. So we use a broker. If you need a good insurance person, I think our broker is covered in all 50 states here in the US. So I can by all means give you his number. If you reach out, leave a comment down below. I can give you his contact info. We've shopped around a lot to find the best price for insurance, and he usually beats it out. So we really like using him. As of last year for home insurance, I think it came out to like $2,900 for the home for the entire year. So we just go ahead and budget $300. It might be a little over, but insurance premiums usually tend to rise every year. So it'll give us a little buffer towards July is when we make our annual payment. Gas and electric came in. We actually had this budgeted at $250 for last month. So we were a little over, which is fine. We had a few cold days. So, electric ended up being a little more. Water, I think we usually budget around 150 to 160. So this came a little lower. Kind of evens that out. And then some home improvement budget. So as we covered a little earlier in the video, we had some plumbing work that we just have been putting off. So we ended up getting that done early in January. So the bill came in, it was $856. When you see these rollover funds here with this little circle with an arrow, it means if you put $250 here on the left-hand side and you had nothing to pay as it came in, that $250 gets rolled over to the next month. So you will see here we had $1,631 come in. We added our $250 from January, but then we spent $856. So the remaining that'll be rolling over into February is $1,025. I really like using the rollover funds because some months are high, some months are low. It kind of evens it out. And that way, if you do have something that pops up that is, say, a water heater that you need $1,500 for, at least you do have a buffer here where you're not paying all $1,500 at once and it's painful. You may pay $500 and then this little fund that you had saved up. It's the way I like to do it. That way it just kind of averages out all the expenses over the years. So you can keep the $250 per month and it kind of stays an average. If you end up hitting, say, $5,000 or $8,000, something like a really good amount to have saved aside, you can take this to zero and just stay at that $5,000 until it comes out and then start adding in. So it gives you a little bit more savings and investing that you can do each month. And then we had pest control. If you haven't seen in the other videos, the pest control actually comes in every other month, just how they bill. So we usually will budget like $60 to $67, and then they charge $127 to $130 every other month. So we budgeted $60, they did charge the $127, and it zeroes out for the rollover to start again the following month of February, and then pay again in March. So the next biggest expense that we usually cover is auto. So when it comes to auto, we don't have any car payments. Car payments are the biggest wealth killer here in America right now. The average car payment is well over $700 per person. So if you're a family of two with two cars, the average car payment is over $1,400 per month. That is crazy. Some people are paying less of that in rent or even mortgages. So we don't have any car payments at all. That is something that we quickly pay off. We want to get rid of. We don't have any outstanding debts. So we paid that off, and you'll see how it gets reflected here in the budget. If you have a car loan and it's a higher interest rate, so say 5 to 7 plus, I highly recommend just pay it off. If you were thinking about investing, you have some savings, you have your emergency fund, I highly recommend just paying it off. The payment that you get back in savings from not having to pay your car payment is amazing. It gives you so much relief. So I highly recommend it. So just like home insurance, for us, our next biggest expense is auto, and it usually comes to registrations. They sneak up on you every year. The insurance for the two cars, yet again, we pay it annually through the same broker. So whenever we pay our home insurance, we also pay our car insurance for the year. It came out last year to just about $2,000. So that's why you see the $200 allocated. And then over here on the right, you see $650 came in from last month. We added our $200 and it'll roll over into the following to come July, August time. And then we'll pay that a year ahead of time. Usually through the same broker, we'll price it out to make sure everything's fair. And then auto maintenance, you'll see that we did have $107 hit the auto maintenance fund this particular month in January. And that was just the oil change that we did on my wife's car. We recently got back from vacation. We drove most of the way in the car, and due to all the miles that we put on it, it was due for an oil change. So I went ahead and took care of that. We budgeted 150, we spent 107. So you'll see there is another rollover from the 891 we had coming from December. And now we have 935 going forward. I would like to see this be up in a couple thousands, because whenever auto maintenance does happen, it's never cheap. Right? It's always going to be at least a couple $100. If you remember from the November budget video, we had something happen with my car and it was $1,800 at one time. If any of our vehicles are going to need tires, if you do all four, same thing, it'd be over $1,500, at least for our vehicles. So something I'd like to see to be able to just keep stacking up until I at least see maybe 2,000, 3,000 in this. And then I'll sit there and I'll put the funds elsewhere like investments. And then the vehicle registration here, $80 per month. We paid $128 just to register a small trailer. And then we had some rollover, went from 500 to 452. I'm fine with that. And then we can climb again as we get further in the year. Now with groceries, because we came back from vacation in December into early January, we didn't spend as much on groceries. So we only spent $482. We originally budgeted between $600 and $700 here. And we came in way under. So just because of that time, whenever I'm on vacation, if I'm buying groceries, if I'm going out to eat, anything that is spent on vacation, I actually put it into the travel fund. That way we know what the full cost of being on vacation. Like, yes, we would have bought groceries anyway. We would have went out anyway, would have stopped and maybe gotten a snack somewhere anyway. But just to make it easy, if we were on vacation, everything gets put to vacation expense. So $482 here for groceries. I've been trying to move fast food to restaurants and did not make that. That is something that I did not hit for January. So I usually try to lower my fast food expense. Fast food could be anything we grab and come home with, could be anything we order to the house, or if we're eating on the way to somewhere, it usually gets allocated for fast food. If we're going to Olive Garden to sit down, it's restaurants. If we're going to Olive Garden or ordering Olive Garden to the house, it's fast food to me. So this would be something I would like to change, is less ordering stuff to the house or driving to go get things or bringing them home. I would actually personally like to see this be a little lower, and then more restaurant time, more of like sit down date time with my wife. So it didn't happen in January. So that's why we have 281 here, and we did not go anywhere out to actually sit down and eat in January. So you won't see that expense here for restaurants. Bills, the same ones that everyone has. We have subscriptions and phone bill. So I cover all of our family's phones. So this is $171. I think we usually budget around a $170, $180, and then we just average it back out. And then this subscription actually used to be over $100. We just found we weren't using all of them. So we went ahead and canceled them. So now I pay around $93 per month. I would like to see this be lower. We have looked at all the subscriptions that we are paying between Netflix and Paramount and Prime, and we just haven't quite found one that we don't watch something on. So it's just something that out of convenience that we just still keep them active. So this 93 comes in and I'm not too worried about it. So for this next one for travel, you'll see that we have $1,000 for the month. We ended up spending $119. That was just like gas and some snacks on the final trek back from our Christmas vacation in January. Now for this one, you'll see we have $2,914 that rolls over into February, but we do have a vacation in mind and we've already allocated expense to it. You'll see that when we cover February here in a little bit. So this one you'll see roll over and you'll see how it helps us in February when we have a large expense and how those funds don't take away from a single month. You can average them out. So 2,914 gets rolled over into February. So for children expense, usually we have like a lunch money here. I actually just checked their accounts. They're fine. They don't need replenished just yet. We most likely will have to do that in February. Shopping, we did end up buying a few gifts. So it was like $53 worth. Medical and dentist. If you remember from other budget videos, we are starting to allocate funds here. In case you guys have not seen, my wife and I are pregnant with our third. So I'm going to start allocating more funds to medical expense just to try to build up this fund. And for dentist, our oldest is right at the age where he's going to start needing dental work. So we're allocating funds to that as well. You'll see about 500. I might even up that in the future just to help build up a fund just in case, you need braces or something that's more expensive. Then the boys and I, we go for a haircut. So that came out to $117. And then dental insurance hits every month at $145. We actually ran that by our dentist and we figured that with the savings that we got from the insurance that was covering the dental bill versus actually what we're paying in, we actually may just cancel the dental insurance altogether. If you end up just like the home insurance and auto insurance, if you pay the whole bill at the dentist, they usually give you like a 10% discount on it, which actually came up cheaper with the insurance and then paying the overage. So it didn't make much sense for our plan entirely. So we may be canceling in the future. Gifts, donations, we didn't have any birthdays or anniversaries yet in January. Education expense was nothing. I am a certified financial coach and licensed real estate agent. So sometimes we have this continuing ed that we have to do. Luckily, nothing in January. So you'll see zero there. Insurance, $14. That hit just like every month. And then we did have to pay postage on a package I had to send. So you'll see this postage and shipping, $6. And then any capital investment that I had to put in for, say, a marketing expense that we want to push. We might do that here in a few months, but this month, nothing. Which then comes down to total expenses. The budgeted expenses, this is with those rollovers I was telling you about, was at $6,926. The actual expenses that came in was $5,300. So we did actually have a large amount to roll over to the following, but that's why I build those rollover funds. So for this savings and retirement goals down here, you'll see this $3,100 here. That is the $100 per day savings challenge we're doing because I want to buy my wife a new car for her birthday on March 1st, and it is February 1st. So we are coming down where I actually have to start going and test driving vehicles, checking them out, making sure that which one that I think she would like out of the few that she's kind of kept her eye on and mentioned, saying, oh, wow, that's really nice. So I'm going to go start test driving and we'll see. I'd like to give it to her in about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So it's really close to her birthday. So you'll see that $3,100 here. And then this $4,100 is the $1,000 left over. I can't put money directly into the Roth IRA. There are income limits. So since I make too much, I can do what's called a backdoor Roth IRA. If you're in the same boat, I have a step-by-step video on how to do it inside of Fidelity. So I will be transferring this money into Fidelity, into the brokerage account. So it's in their ecosystem. So when I perform that conversion, it's super quick and same day. So makes it really easy. So we'll do that $1,000. Since we in the top right-hand corner here have $1,695 left to budget. Let's go up here and see if there's anything else we can put it in just to help build up a buffer. Home insurance, we are good. I like where that's going. For home improvement, I don't foresee any other projects we'll have to do. So I like this $1,000 there for now. Let's see, auto insurance. Since we are buying that new vehicle here this month, let's just put 300 here for now, just in case it comes in a little higher. Auto maintenance, 935. I think we're good there, rolling over. Vehicle registration, the same. We have plenty in order to register the new vehicle. Groceries, everything else looks good. Rollover fund, travel and vacation. I'm going to put 1,500 here because I know we have that coming up and I just want a little bit more of a buffer. But this apply 1,500 to all future months, we don't want to do that. So I unchecked that box because I don't want it carrying forward. So now you see $3,414 moving forward. Medical and dentist, because we have the baby coming, I would say let's put that at $750, not every month. And then for the dentist, let's do same thing. I think if he needs more dental work, that'll actually be pretty expensive. So we'll put $750 there. So as you can see, we have this $595 left over in the left to budget. So we'll go ahead and add that down here. And then in the top right corner here, you'll actually see that $0 left to budget. This is what's called a zero-based budgeting method. It means every dollar that comes in, you gave a job. You allocated somewhere to do something. It doesn't just sit in a checking account where it's earning nothing, or even a normal savings account. You gave it a purpose and are going to move it somewhere. And since we have this $1,595, let's go ahead and hop into Fidelity and actually transfer that money live. Okay, so this is inside of our Fidelity accounts. We're just going to put it into the brokerage account for now. So we're going to hit transfer from the bank account to the individual brokerage account. Yes, on today, February 1st, we're going to hit $1,595. Move to individual brokerage account. And it's done. Okay, so whenever that transfer populates, it'll come in just a few days, it'll register and Monarch will pull it in. As soon as it does, we'll allocate it to January's budget and that will actually zero out. So let's go over to February in the top right-hand corner. It says February 2026, and we'll start at the top and work through kind of what the budget's going to look like in February. Since it's February 1st, some of the transactions are already hitting. You know, they pull out mortgages right away. Sometimes paychecks hit pretty early. So we had one land today, and then the business obviously gets paid out on the 1st every month. And then some of the high yield savings gave us like $19. So as we come down, mortgage, since tomorrow is Monday, that'll post and that'll get allocated. That really doesn't increase. So home insurance, we know we have $2,200. Since it's February, I maybe even be able to clock that back. So we'll watch that as the months come. Gas and electric, we knew we were a little high last month. So we'll leave, you know what, we'll change this to 275 just in case we have a buffer, not for every month. And then water, we'll leave at 160 even though it came in less, just so we're kind of planning ahead and don't go under budget here. Home improvement, 100, so this goes up to 1,100. Pest control, back again. Auto insurance, that's at 1,000. With the rollover, so that's okay. Let's see, 1,150. With auto maintenance, 1,085. Vehicle registration, 532. I like where those are at. Groceries, we did actually go buy groceries today. And like I said, usually within 24 hours, it already populates. So I picked up the purchase that we made this morning at the grocery store. Restaurants, like I said, for January, I want to start putting more money to actually sitting down for like date days or taking my family out to eat rather than just ordering stuff to the house because it's convenient. So I put $400 here. Probably won't spend it just because I know how busy we all get, but I'm going to make an effort to try to actually go out and sit down and eat. $250 to fast food because we know that's probably what's going to happen. Phone bill, let's see, we'll put $171 because that's what it came in last month. Subscriptions, 95. We know they came in around 93. I'll just leave a small buffer. Travel and vacation. Do you see we did actually book? And because we put in a little extra money on the previous month of January, this is actually 500 over. So our vacation that we're planning on taking isn't until late summer, early fall. So as we allocate, say $1,000 or $1,068, we'll go say, just put 1,000 here. This will say 432, and it's going to keep adding that 500 to 1,000, whatever we allocate. So by the time that we do on vacation, we actually have a pretty good amount of money to spend and relax and enjoy without worried about digging into anything where we may need that money for bills. So it helps me relax. You don't have to do it this way. It's just something that I like to do. So when I know as we're spending while on vacation, I can keep an eye in Monarch because it brings it in real time. It says, okay, now we have $1,500 left or $1,000 left, and we have a few days left of vacation. So we know we can maybe start going to parks to go hiking or walking or like city museums and less of like the more expensive places like say Disneyland or Disney World. Because we didn't add money to the kids' lunch accounts over at school, I allocated it here. Shopping, if you've seen from the previous videos, I always allocate money for shopping, usually just in case I have to get myself something, and I never do. I hate spending money on myself. I usually get everything I need from either my birthday or Christmas or whatever. So I allocate money just so it's there in case I do have to get something. I do feel guilty about it, but usually we end up zeroing it out. So hundreds there. Medical, 500. Now we're at $3,431. Dentist, $3,356. Haircuts will allocate $175. It's actually what it came in 2 months ago. So last month was actually a little cheaper. It's a kind of an abnormality. So I'll go ahead and budget $175 there. And dental insurance, I still am not 100% sold on why we even have it because it didn't seem like it saved us very much when we did go. So I'll allocate it here, but that may be canceled in the future. And then gifts, I have $200 here. I want to put that up. My wife's birthday is coming up on March 1st. So we're going to do probably some sort of gift, like small gift. I think I want to buy a big bow or something for the car. So that way it's, when it comes to the driveway, it actually looks and it's a good presentation. So I'll look into that. And then I want to take her out to eat as well. So just to have a really good, memorable birthday. Education, still nothing. I don't plan on any continuing education classes to come in. Insurance, we know that actually hit already. And then capital investments, don't have anything to put into the businesses as of right now. And total expenses, we budgeted $8,131. Actual expenses so far are $4,121, thanks to that vacation that we've already kind of put money down towards. And then for this savings, there is, I think, only 28 days this month, and I don't plan on using all of them for that car fund. We'll put $3,000 here just as a placeholder, and then we'll see how the month shakes out. So, and then we've already put our $100 towards our $100 a day savings challenge for February. So that's already allocated. See, it's in real time. It's right here. Yeah. So that's everything for February. And we still have $1,516 that we're left to budget. And then that can even be lowered based on what income we actually see come in. So it's one thing I love. And then if we were to say, do a report on, let's do last month. So for the month of January, this is one thing I really like is you can do a bunch of different charts. So with, say, January's cash flow, you can see, as we saw in paychecks and business income, and this little bit of interest goes into this column of total income and then breaks out into your categories, usually ranked highest to lowest. So you'll see we liked, especially because we're doing the savings challenge, like to save and invest as much money as possible. So you'll see savings and investing is up there. This month turned out to be 58.32% savings rate. December was over 66. So we want these up there. I don't want you to expect this to be normal. I am a chronic saver. I love saving money, but it usually comes at the cost of maybe not buying something that I know I probably need until the very last minute. So I like to see this be number high. It's not for everybody. So just know that anything over like a 15 to 25% savings rate is amazing. I just like to, I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to savings rate. So I like to see this as high as possible. Then you'll see housing down here so far, just for January was 27.5. It's 28%. If you have a housing expense less than 30, that is great. If it's less than 25 to 30%. If you start seeing more than 30%, that's when you start feeling that what's called house poor, where you really get to enjoy your mortgage, but not really much else, right? So you come home, you are hanging around the house more. You always find yourself a little short to, go to the movie theater where you're watching kind of what you're spending over there. If you see that, that becomes a problem. So as a licensed real estate agent, I always try to push my clients towards, yes, we can be able to buy this particular house. We just need to be very careful of what our debt to income ratio is and how much house we're actually buying, and being able to enjoy. Some people, they say, hey, I'm a homebody. I love being in my house. That works. We can buy the nicest house that's within your budget and you really get to enjoy the acreage or the very nice custom, like modern cottage. And they do. They absolutely love it. They don't take a lot of vacations because they truly love staying at home. So for me, I'm more of a savings person. So you'll see housing expense is 28%. I do cover the whole mortgage. So I take that on myself and you'll see that's 40% of this expense. And then you have home improvement. That was 16%. So this is usually even a little lower. And then gas, electric, utilities, and such like that. Food and dining was under 6%. Health and wellness under 2.6%. And then you have your bills and so on. And it really breaks it down. I really like this view. Just kind of neat to look at and have them ranked that way. Otherwise, there is a certain view that's actually really good here. So let's do monthly. So you can do the bar graph. You can do this one where they're stacked on top of each other to kind of see where your income and expense was. I really do just like seeing it here. And then it's even broken down per transaction down here. So the reason why I like this report, this cash flow report, is I like to keep track of what total income was month to month, total expenses, and then total net income, which is usually dividable, and it tells you your savings rate. So that's why I see it. Like I said, I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to savings. And then this is just a report that I like to see so I can keep track of exactly what's going out. But every day I live within the budget. I am here every single day checking, okay, so these transactions came in, we allocated them to certain expenses. Okay, my home improvement expense is $250. We did see a deduction. Am I under? Am I over? By how much? Do I need to put more? This is where I stay. And it only takes 5 to 10 minutes. It's super quick. That's why I really enjoy Monarch Money. They do make it really easy. And I know that if I have to take my son to the dentist and I see a $7,000 bill, I'm not too shocked by it because I know I have $2,856 already saved up, or this for February, $3,356 already saved up. So like, okay, I've allocated almost half of that. So now I just need to find it in the budget with this 1,516. Maybe we have to take away from our savings down here and reallocate it, which you can do from here. You can say, oh, I want to take it from savings and put it to dentist. And then you allocate the amount and then you can get that amount. And you're like, okay, now we're going to start taking back from the home improvement fund, the car maintenance fund, just for the month to pay the bill. Try not to go negative if possible, and then move on to the next month and start adding back to those accounts just in case an emergency happens. One reason why I really enjoy Monarch Money. So the one thing I want to emphasize is that budgeting doesn't have to feel restricting. You saw how easy it was back inside of Monarch. There are so many different tools to use to help with budgeting, but Monarch really does almost everything all in one place. So I'll stick a link down in the description below so you can save 50% off your first year in case you want to use them. We are getting close to the end of our $100 per day savings challenge for my wife's car. So hit the like and subscribe buttons down below so you can see our next savings and investing challenge coming up later this year. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.